It is June the 14th, 2025, not 6th, 5. I'm Chris, and this is the future of photography.
The future of photography.
Yay! Getting the date wrong. Things
Almost as if we were about the future of photography.
I think I do live it. I'm coming to you from my nuclear bunker, as you can see on the video. So yes, we are in the future, and everyone should have a bunker these days.
Do you know what? I like what you've done with the place. I like the aesthetic you've gone for there. Touch. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons these old control rooms, industrial or nuclear or whatever, had this green tint, I think there was a study in the 20s or 30s about that calming you down, that color.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
I find it rather enraging.
Do you? Oh, that's a bit disappointing.
No,
maybe don't go for a job running a nuclear power plant then.
No, I won't. I would like to talk about cameras that claim to be something that they aren't.
Food mixers? Toasters. I've always wanted a toaster camera.
That would kind of be wild.
I like toast.
No, you have to bring your own toast. The camera won't do that for you. It kind of continues a discussion that you and Jeremiah had, or maybe I was part of that. I don't even remember, about, I think it started with the X-Half, the Fujifilm X-Half camera.
Yeah. Jeremiah and I had touched on that one last week. We had a bit of a magazine show while you were away last week, and that was one of the things we talked about, yeah.
I talked about that camera on other shows, so that's why I'm kind of mixing things up here. And it dawned on me when I saw another announcement that we are right now in a time where it seems to be trendy for camera manufacturers to release cameras that are digital cameras, but that they act in a way as if you were shooting analog.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's what the X-Half does. It has a film mode. It has a mode where you can choose your film emulation, and Fuji's really good with those. And then you can set it to how many pictures you want to take. Oddly enough, not 24, but starts with 36 and goes up to 72 pictures. And then you are in that mode, and there's no review of the picture, so you're shooting as if you were shooting analog. And then when you're done, you can't even look at them on the camera. Then you have to transfer that to an app, as in the air quotes developing them, and then you can do whatever you want with them. So that analog simulation that goes beyond just simulating the look of a film stock. And we've seen those in the past. If you look back, let me bring up a few.
There's one I remember here, where you actually chose your film simulation by the act of putting a physical canister in the back of the digital camera. If I remember rightly, it was not a good quality camera, though.
No, I think that was a Yashica one about a year or two ago, and
more than that. But yeah.
I've completely forgotten about that. I should have put it in the list, but I think that one flopped because it was too convoluted. But it was an early try in getting this kind of a thing off the ground. And there is clearly a market for it. Otherwise, people wouldn't go for them. They would
possibly not us. Or at least not as our main cameras, but...
So we can talk about who might be the target consumer for this kind of a camera, because as you're saying, probably not us. I think you might be right there. But why is that? Is that an age thing? Is that a we've been there, we've done that kind of thing?
So it's a good question. For me, I think it's because I've got after many years, and I've discussed this on the show, I finally feel in the last year or two that I've actually sort of evolved into something of my own style of imagery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could absolutely replicate that with one of these, with the Fuji X-Half, right? But it's not based upon the Fuji things. It's based on the fact that I just literally crunch the pixels, beat them to death several times, and then there's my image. So I'm not the subtlest of image makers, far from it. So I could do that with any camera, right? But
so
which
for
also means
you,
I
the
don't need to
result
buy
is
another
more.
camera to do it.
For you,
Sorry,
the
say
result
again?
is more important than the process. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but I could totally get if the Fuji JPEGs, as lovely as they are, right, and they are, because I shoot Fuji, so I know this to be true. Then if that was my look, I'd definitely be well up for this camera. The simplicity of it sounds fantastic, and it sounds like fun as well. Not enough cameras are fun, are they? So.
It does. I'm surprised that I find it intriguing. But let's go through the history of these cameras. An earlier one I found is the Epson RD1, which is now it's a 6 megapixel. It says 6 megapixel cult classic. And it's
always wanted one of these, but never bought one when they were cheap, and now they're really, really expensive. I think, aren't they?
It's now the 21st anniversary of this camera.
Is it?
So It's been around for this long. First digital rangefinder. And at launch, it was $3,000. It's now still $1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
It has a Type M lens mount, a Leica lens mount. It does 6 megapixels. It's very well built. You can turn around the display in the back to cover up the display, so you can have a bit of a fake out thing, so you could look, but you don't have to. Looks well built, and it's a cult classic. People really go for that. So that's one of them. Another one that kind of probably is a bit pricier is the Leica MD. Which is Leica, they say the first serial production model of the digital M family to be made without a monitor screen. So they have that going for them. They simulate at least a bit of an analog experience by not showing you the picture.
No, they sell more. They charge more for not having that.
Of course. Of course they do. Another one that I that not too long ago made the rounds is the French Pixie camera.
Oh, yeah. My friend Hamish had one of these.
So it's a full frame sensor. It's a wide angle viewfinder. It's a rangefinder type camera, and it's monochrome, and it has an optical viewfinder, and it's not quite 100% analog, but it's analog-ish as in it emulates that experience. There is a digital overlay on the viewfinder, so you get some technical data.
I was always intrigued by the Pixies. Again, quite expensive, I think, but possibly
4,000 euros. Yes,
yeah, because they're a low-volume machine, aren't they? And
yes,
so tricky.
And I think they don't have a back display. I think that's on your phone. So. They say minimizing distractions, but again, charge more for it. So,
Well, I think they probably for different reasons than Leica. They're probably driven to it, aren't they? Because they haven't got the volume of sales to make it work.
Oh yeah.
At a more affordable price. They're not a big manufacturer.
Right. Then the X-Half. Yeah, we talked about that. This kind of completely can simulate an analog experience down to the film advance lever. So
although, of course, given that it's a portrait orientation camera,
right, vertical.
It's different from your standard film experience. I mean, I've shot with, as you probably have with, Fuji 645 cameras.
Yes,
that are that are portrait, right? But first one, I can't remember what the model numbers and stuff like that, but I have shot with them, and it's an interesting thing to do, to put a camera to your eye, just holding it normally, and then have it be the other way round, right? It's like,
but back then there was a curiosity. Now it's more like people are used to shooting vertical.
Well, it's a preference now, isn't it? Yeah, like vertical video and stuff.
And I mean, to be honest, the if we look at through the history of aspect ratios and orientations in photography, the first Kodak had a round picture, just because they needed to use as much of the image circle as possible. There were square ones, there were vertical, horizontal ones. The 3:2 aspect ratio, the 35 millimeter aspect ratio that we know from the SLRs, had the longest run in the history of photography. There were lots of other formats that came and went, and that one just stayed for one reason or another. So, yeah,
that's a really
fashion,
good
right?
point.
It's fashion, isn't it?
Yes, that's a very good perspective to bring to it, though, because we always think of the 35mm format as normal, but it's not.
At cinema.
It wasn't even designed that way, was it? I mean, it was a reuse of a format that was designed for cinema cameras. So
right. Look at cinema, at the different aspect ratios there and how they are crammed on the film. Some are horizontal, some are vertical, some are like the film goes sideways or from top to bottom.
Some have audio tracks on the film. Yeah,
exactly. And some are really thin and wide, and some are over the years. If you look at some movies, they even play with that by going through the. I think Wes Anderson did that in some of his movies, where
Tarantino does as well. I remember seeing
some of the film plays in a different time, and that aspect ratio from back then is then used, and then they need to put a special note on the film, and on the movie for the projectionist to make sure that they set the projection screen aspect ratio right at the different places. So it's a bit of a dance, but it's cool. I mean, it's interesting to play with that technology. So vertical is not that unusual.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? Just a quick note on the X-Half while you're sharing it on the screen here as well, talking about vertical. What if? I believe it shoots just JPEG, or maybe it can do.
I think it does shoot JPEG, and that's it. I believe you don't have the option.
I wouldn't mind not having a RAW file, but I would really like a 10-bit file rather than an 8-bit file.
JPEG doesn't do that.
No, I know.
That is not your decision. It's not JPEG's decision.
JPEG is an 8-bit file format, but yeah, it would just be nice to have just a little bit more information in the
it's
files.
It's a 24-bit file format because that's 3 times 8 bits. So
yeah, okay.
So the X-Half, and the one that was just recently announced is the Yashica FXD, which again, it says your first digital film simulation camera, and it does a lot of the things that it has 6 film simulations based on classical Yashica film stocks. They say I have never perceived Yashica film to be iconic or something, but
nor me. Camera looks nice enough. It looks like a sort of late
looks
60s,
nice enough.
early 70s SLR of some sort. But yeah,
right. You can save customizable recipes. It has like an analog and digital hybrid modes. It has a film advance lever, but it also comes with a flip screen. And I don't know too many details other than it comes or it will come. I think it's been announced. It will come in 2 versions. One is a 50 megapixel and the other is something like a 13 megapixel. So they are leaning very much on the heritage of Yashica, because Yashica isn't a manufacturer anymore. It's a brand that is owned by someone else. So there's not a Yashica factory somewhere.
Yeah,
they have that made by someone. It's also, when you look at the X-Half by Fuji, I think that's like somewhere around 850 units.
Something like, yeah, it's 700 here in the UK actually. So it's a bit cheaper in the UK, I think, which is very odd, unusual.
So and the Yashica, at least the cheap one, I think they ran this through a Kickstarter campaign, and I think the early bird price was in the range of 250 or something along those lines. So it's a different kind of beast, but they also lean heavily into that with the film advance lever and or is it lever? It
depends on where you live. It's lever to me, but it's
it's Hebel in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So they have the emulsions. They simulate the Yashica Ruby 60s and the Sapphire 70s and the 400 and the golden 80s. So
Okay.
why not? Why not?
Do you know what? Have fun with it, right? I'm long past the time where I'm precious about what cameras people have and what they choose. It could be fun.
Same here, absolutely same here. So the thoughts I had about this. I mean, what are the different aspects here? We're talking about design and hardware aspects. So
yes,
it gives you at least in some way they give you that feeling of not shooting a digital camera, which might be intriguing to some people. That goes down to the software, to the user experience, by not letting you see the pictures when you shoot them, and by having to, in air quotes, develop them in some way before you can see them. And that adds some limitation, right? It does add that aspect of film photography to make your photography more intentional, because you can't see what you get, so you can't check and see if you have to redo it. And so I think it will probably help making your photography a bit more intentional. In general, constraint drives creativity.
That's true. So, yes, that's a very good point. Yeah, I think for me, there's the element of the anticipation of waiting for the photos for me, which I think can be fun.
Right, and then sorry, go ahead.
Then there's an element of just being carefree, right? It's like if you take away all of the ability to check and to worry about stuff and things like that, then that to me is a good thing as well, just because you can enjoy the moment of taking the photo, but you can also still not be taken out of whatever it is that you're actually enjoying, that you decided to take a photograph of in the first place, right?
Right. So that's one aspect. The other one is, of course, the cultural factors, the social factors. If you look at the view of a younger generation, they look at film as it's romanticized, right? It's something 90s tech aesthetics, maybe 2000s, early 2000s aesthetics. You see that in the digicams that are booming in a used way. So the used ones sell well. The social media like TikTok or Instagram Reels and so on, they have a bit of a slant towards the old gear, the film looks and so on. So that is certainly very present. You will see celebrities sporting old digicams or even film cameras now. Is that backlash against the whole digital thing? That there's an escape aspect here.
I think there is, and it's and I get it, right? I totally do get it, because it's this. I think maybe one of the equivalents for people like you and I, who are maybe further along in our photography journey and have many more cameras already.
You can say it, we're just older.
No, it's sort of, well, yeah, that is a feature too, but I think it's more about perhaps having had that experience, perhaps having come up through generations of digital cameras that were not as good, and you needed the raw file because that's how you made it work, right? But these days, a lot of us are seeking lenses for our incredibly sophisticated cameras that are more expressive rather than, let's say, technical. So lenses now, photography lenses are incredibly sharp and incredibly true. And there's also a rise, isn't there, of photographers trying out cine lenses, right? And there's a lot of TV shows being shot with Soviet era lenses, isn't there now, and stuff like that. So I think I'm certainly not immune to it. Do I Do I need another camera to achieve that? No, but am I tempted to buy new lenses that give me more expressive stuff? Absolutely, I am. Yeah,
especially as you said, the perfection nowadays, or also the AI filters and the HDR and the way modern imaging comes out of an iPhone in perfect condition. That's kind of boring now. And the manufacturers, of course, are more than happy to pick up that trend, to pick up that sentiment, because they have been desperately looking for something new, something different to sell more cameras. So that's an opportunity for them. Oh, I forgot the Nikon, what is it, ZF, which again has a very analog look, at least. So they all kind of cater to that niche. So there's an accessory ecosystem, like leather straps, special lens hoods, thumb grips, things that you would buy for your Leica. So all that together, I think, just creates that air of coolness, of
I wish I was cool. Are you cool? I'm not cool. Right?
I'm not cool.
But maybe if we got one of it, maybe if I bought a Fuji X1/2, I could be. I don't know. You know, I have a beard. I own a pair of aviator shades. Does that count? Yeah. I can put them on if you like. Yeah, I don't know if I wear shades to do the podcast, does that help me look cool? I don't know.
Well, especially to those who just listen to it, that'll translate into the audio file for sure.
Yes, good point.
Your tone will change. So
my tone will change. I'll become suddenly more laid back.
Exactly. All that together has created a new trend, a new market, and I'm all here for it. I don't need these cameras for myself, but I came to that conclusion long ago, and this is again one of those areas. It does not matter what makes people come to photography, as long as they come to photography. And if this is your entry level drug, if that gets you in the fold, if that gets you interested and hooked, awesome, wonderful. Because there will be a development with everyone. I remember being 16 and looking at all the gimmicks and things and finding lots of things cool that nowadays I go, yeah, okay, but that got me interested, that got me hooked, and this is like, this is that for me. Brings people into photography.
Definitely. I mean, especially the Fuji one. I'm partial to a Fuji camera anyway, but that's got lots of looks. It's got the vertical sensor. It's got all sorts of stuff going on, right? Yeah. So I think that's really powerful. I do wonder whether the target market have got the disposable income to buy it. I think that might, I'm not saying that they've overpriced it. You can
start with a Yashica for $250 and then level up to the Fuji.
So there's a risk there, though, isn't it? Depends on what that Yashica is actually like. I mean, the one
I don't expect it to be good. I do not expect
exactly
it to be
that.
Awesome.
So so that might put people off rather than encourage them. I don't know. But
if you're young, you don't maybe mind too much if it's a bit crap,
That's true. So, and if you haven't paid too much for it, you don't need to worry about it either, is it? I'm sure I was watching a video the other day about people whose cameras are so expensive they don't want to take them out of the house, and it's like, well, it's just
that's weird. Again, I wonder how long that trend will continue, but it seems to be quite strong given the amount of existing products and new products that cater to this. So I think it's something that we will in 10 years look back to and hopefully in a fond way and go, man, that was kind of cool and brought us people. So because we need people as podcasters, as workshop holders, as people who are in that business. We cannot.
Maybe we should be on TikTok then or something, rather than as
dance me an F4. I'm not sure. Old and grumpy mode engaged.
Yeah. But enjoy it though. We're enjoying our old and grumpy mode, so that's the important thing.
Yes, we are. So I think we can agree. In general, it's a good thing, and I've long stopped telling people what not to buy or what to buy because people don't listen. They will do their own thing anyway. They're just asking you to get some confirmation or permission to buy something. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
People, buy these things, have fun, and yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Time for the picks.
Time for picks of the week. Okay.
You brought us videos.
Well, I got two things. One is a website and one is a video. So the reason I got two is that the first is really that the link. My pick of the week is to a creative agency called Ultra Sharp Films. I know them from, I've come across them first of all because of their YouTube channel. So there is a link to one of their YouTube movies there, and the YouTube movie is how to give your videos the film look. So, it's on message for this week, right?
It's all about emulating things.
It is, but the fella that does the videos, he's one of I think there's a couple of them in this creative agency, but the fella that's in front of the camera, when they do their YouTube channel, is that their writing is really funny. It's very irreverent. It's and just lots and lots of fun. And then the website is a link to their actual agency and all the professional work that they do, which just go take a look at it because some of that's quite fun as well. And it's just some nicely produced video to look at.
This looks fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just it's worth watching a couple of them because the fella is quite funny.
Cool. Wonderful. So what did I bring? I brought us another type of camera, and you know how I like to delve into the whole space thing.
Yes, I do.
I do like to talk about telescopes and things. Now,
which are cool. That makes you cool, right?
So totally. Wait.
Starlight is analog, right?
Makes me cool. There. Now I'm cool.
Nice.
Now I'm cool. So what I'm talking about is not a visual camera, though, because our visual spectrum is very limited. And if you go up the scale, you end up in the radio spectrum. And I can't see anything here. And if you go in the radio spectrum, you can see things in a different spectrum. And, we are talking about a radio telescope that is supposed to be built in... not quite space, but on the moon and on the dark side of the moon. So NASA has announced plans. Well, actually, they are in their second funding round for the research part of it.
Okay.
To build a radio telescope into a moon crater on the far side of the moon.
Cool.
So...
that is very cool. I like that, and the image you're showing there is very Kubrick, I think. Yeah.
This is not an actual image of the telescope. They they want to build it in the 2030s. They have.
Okay.
I think the project goes back 5 years. Started in 2020. They have all the concepts. JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is developing this. Again, this is the second funding round. I think the second round, I don't know how many there are, but that gives them like over $500,000 to invest in that. They're in the process of building a 200 scale prototype that will be tested here on Earth, and that thing is supposed to be set up by a robot.
Is it now?
So there won't be astronauts up there. It's supposed to be a fully automatic deployment into that moon crater. And the only...
So if you want an esoteric sci-fi reference, they have to call the robot Daniel. No?
Not sure I get that.
Spoiler alert then. It's from the Foundation series of books, and if you read all the way to the end, like all 7 of them, there is a robot character called Daniel.
I don't think from what I've seen, I don't think we're talking about a robot that could be anthropomorphized in any way. I think it's more of a machine and machines doing it that are a bit more utilitarian. So this is the plan. The only kind of caveat here is that this whole thing, the cost is roughly $2.6 billion, and
the rest.
In the current climate, with budget cuts for NASA and other things, we don't know.
So when you first said they're going to build a telescope on the dark side of the moon, I thought that's not going to work, is it? Because the dark side of the moon isn't actually dark.
It is not dark, but it is radio dark. That's the thing.
It is radio dark, yes.
We're talking about ultra long wave kind of thing. I don't know the tech specs, but we're talking about a kind of radio frequency that the Earth's atmosphere doesn't let through very well. Yeah. That's the one thing. The other thing is that with the constellations in lower Earth orbit, Starlink, but also others, I think being together, I think way over 8,000 satellites now and growing fast. They also use radio frequencies to transmit from Earth to the satellites and the other way. And that's also a bit of a problem here. So this would allow a very different kind of astronomy.
Yes, because you'll have essentially the whole of the moon protecting you from all of that EM spectrum, won't you? Yes. So I can, probably, if it wasn't for, a certain Pink Floyd album, we probably should rename the dark side of the moon.
It's the far side of the moon.
The far side of the moon.
And the moon is locked to Earth, so it always shows that part away from Earth.
The far side, though, reminds me of the cartoon series.
It's true.
So that would come with its own baggage.
Yeah, what do we call it? The not Earth facing side of the moon is a big mouthful. The other side of the moon. Let's call it the other side of the moon. All right. And with that, I think we're at the end of this episode. That was the future of photography. The other future of photography, we are online on our Discord, tfttf.com/join. No, join us? What's the Discord thing again here? I don't even remember.
Link in the show notes, though. So
link in the show notes.
Yeah.
I have it. I just press tap an icon and I'm there, I don't have to remember these things.
Exactly that, yes.
And you can find us at thefuturephotography.com on YouTube. And we'll be back soon with more. Until then, everyone, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Future of Photography. Join the discussion on our Discord, find the show notes and all episodes at thefutureofphotography.com, and subscribe wherever you listen to audio.